The communities of Black Lake, Stony Rapids, and La Loche have partnered with the Northern Recreation Coordinator Committee, NRCC, to advocate active living and community wellness through a traditional survival canoe trip for the youth at risk. The purpose of this trip is to allow the youth, elders, and guides the opportunity to engage in physical activity, share skills and knowledge. All these combine together to help them survive using traditional skills. Other main goals of the trips are active living for inactive people, learning new recreational skills, recognizing the benefits of recreation, healthy living and proper nutrition, developing youth leaders for northern communities, and enhancing cultural awareness. In August of 2002, we embarked on survival canoe trip. 11 Black Lake youth and 3 guides, including myself, started our survival journey that would last 26 days. This trip, as the crow flies, is approximately 120 miles to Exingen Lake and back to Black Lake. Our travels took us through areas of which no Black Lake Denisontlinis member had been since 1943, a period of 58 years. Perhaps if we had known why no one had gone back for so many years, we may have taken a different route. The land was wild, it was almost impassable. Another route may have been considered. Nice work, boys. Okay. Our route took us into Fond du Lac River, the Porcupine River, Jarvis Creek, Pinkham Lake, then to Melton Lake, and on to Bonikoski Lake. The first part of our trip would be uphill. After Bonikoski Lake, we would be traveling downstream on the Mackenzie Creek into Exingen Lake, which in my mind would be a much easier portion than fighting the upstream current. From Exingen Lake, our group would head east to Rutledge Lake and onto Stratton River. We then will proceed homeward through either the Porcupine River or the alternate Sullivan Lake route. If we went to Sullivan Lake Lodge, which is located just inside the Saskatchewan border, north of Fond du Lac River, we would have the Dawn River trip to the Chipman River into Black Lake, then home. Bill Jeffrey and myself chartered a Cessna 185 to overfly the area and have a preview of our proposed route. We noted that the rivers were very low, but we couldn't have a thorough examination of the route flying at over 100 miles per hour. It all looked fine from the air. We went back to the community and consulted some elders about the route. This amazed Bill Jeffrey that after more than 50 years since the last time they were there, the elders would remember virtually every landmark, every portage and reefs along the route. The information provided by the elders was interesting and very helpful to the safety and success of our journey.
It was really good for those kids, I think, to go through that, because they came out of it and they got stronger. They didn't say, I'm quitting, I'm going home, like this is it. They just, I think, said to themselves, look, I'm going to do this trip and I'm going to prove to myself that I can do it. I'm going to prove to these guys that I can do it. I'm not sure exactly what's going through their heads, but, something like that. When we got out of Black Lake, we had 5 miles of portaging off and on, but altogether it was 5 miles. The longest one was 2.5, but it's a Chipman portage where people used to come and go into the territories a lot in that portage. So it's it's a lot of history to it. A lot of people have walked over that for centuries. Anyways, when we hit that, like the kids would hit the shore with the canoe and grab that canoe, and they were on the run on a trot, carrying that canoe. And wanting to be, not to be the last one over that portage, but the first or right up front there, And like it was almost like a real race, It was sort of all in fun, and then the last 2.5 miles, like there was kids there that one couple of kids there that went through a hard time. Like there was one boy there, Timothy Catholic, grabbed that canoe and he took it 2.5 miles and never put it down. He didn't, you know, and like this is a kid that probably weighs maybe 130, and that canoe is like 80, 85 pounds, and he just was determined. He had the cross and the rosary in one hand, you know, and he said, I just said to myself, I'm not going to put this canoe down, I'm going to go all the way. And that's what he did. And that kid just like, that's one of the kids that probably went through more changes than anybody else, you know, and probably a lot more shit than a lot of kids too, eh? But he finished and he was really proud of himself. I remember talking to his dad and telling him, you know, like, you know, Timothy, like, you should really be proud of him like he did. He had, you know, he went through a lot, eh? But he came through and proved that he could do it. And his dad, you know, I was telling him that, and his dad had tears in his eyes. He felt, you know, was really proud of his son, eh?
Teaching on our trip was done throughout and by each of us. Respect for each other and the land that provided for us was taught and understood. This information and teaching is to help create an equal balance between all living things. As part of the growing and becoming a man, learning to respect one another is also taught to the youth. This helps them to become responsible individuals with the guidance of our elders. Helping to guide these young men is fulfilling and makes me feel that I'm passing on my knowledge in the positive way. I think definitely it's a positive thing for the community. Some of the things that I tend to teach these kids is the respect for one another and build in a community. And when you're out there as a group, towards the second week, you start to come close together. Start to share everything, your feelings, whatever you have, your grub, what little that you have, you start to share with this because that's all you have. And I look at the future in these kids here. If only we could have kids like this as future leaders, that we could have a better community or build better community in our communities in the Athabasca region. I also teach, I try to teach kids not to do drugs and stuff like that. And it's amazing what these kids will talk about. That sometimes I'll be at nighttime after supper and stuff like that, I'll go into my tent and start doing my diary, and there'll be kids out there talking to one another. And I overheard this one kid, he's 15-year-old, said to the kids, he says, "Are you lonely?" And this kid responded, and he says, "No, I'm not lonely. Because if I were in Black Lake, if I were in my community right now, we will be out running around. It's 10 o'clock, we're ready to go to bed now. We will be doing drugs or booze. Just think of it, we're sitting here around this campfire, enjoying ourselves, enjoying our friendship here. This is a 15-year-old kid have an attitude and have the respect for one another and having that feeling. It's, I mean, that's the accomplishment that I have felt and what they're thinking. And these kids, if given a chance, if given the power and the chance, they will accomplish a lot of things. On our journey, we experienced a wide variety of life trails, On this trip, safety was always on our minds. Once in the water, keeping your life jacket on is always a must. Proper technique and all aspects of safety were properly taught to these young adults. In closing, I would like to thank all the sponsors that helped to make this possible. Chemical Corporation, Kojima Resources, Cigar Lake Mining, Department of Northern Affairs, Indian and Northern Affairs Canada, Northern Store Black Lake, Northern Recreation Coordinated Committee, Northern Diabetes Prevention Coalition, Northern Light School Division, Northern Denver Airways, Prince Albert Grand Council, Scott's General Store Stone Rapids, SAS Lotteries, SAS Parks and Recreation Association, Saskatchewan Action Plan for Children, Solomon Lake Lodge, Transwest Air, Whitewater Inn, and A&L Transport.